Greetings from STEP Conference, and welcome to the third edition of E3, Entrepreneurship Explained. I'm William Coombe, your host. Each 3-minute segment includes practical insights, ideas, and illustrations from MENA region entrepreneurs. Our guest stories are inspiring and will provide 3 practical insights to help take your innovative idea, startup, or SME to the next level. In this episode, we'll talk with Yousef Tuqan, CEO of Flip Media. Joining as an account director in 2005, Yousef has seen Flip go through both the good and the hard times, including its high-profile 2012 acquisition by Leo Burnett and the Publicis Group. Starting with his childhood, Yousef shared the personal story of his rise as a corporate entrepreneur on the intersection of media, technology, and business.
I've always been surrounded by technology. My dad was an old IBM hand, and he spent the 70s and the 80s talking to Middle East companies and brands and convincing them why they needed computers, and then secondarily why they needed IBM. And so for me, I was always surrounded by the newest computers, the newest gadgets, and I had a computer in my home in the 80s when most kids didn't.
For Yousef, synergy among his various passions became much more important than his formal education.
I dropped out in '96. I ran out of money and I came home, and I really had nothing to do at the time, but I always loved marketing and I wanted to be, to work in advertising or something, but I also loved technology. And so the web became a really natural part of that. So in 1996, I was sitting in my bedroom coding websites for this new thing called the World Wide Web, when it almost really didn't exist. And that's kind of started this 16-year love affair that I've had with the web, where literally I've done nothing but build websites and digital strategies for clients since 1996. I even met my wife at a digital marketing conference.
Becoming part of the business ecosystem became a very critical factor in Yousef's success.
In terms of my agency career, I kind of worked freelance and worked for my dad from 1996 to about 1999, and then I started to work for smaller agencies. My first proper agency job was with an agency called APS, which was a small boutique design agency that was one of the very old school agencies. They designed the logo for Jebel Ali Free Zone in the 80s, for example, and I started to do a lot of work on Emirates and Emirates Holidays, but really working with that agency to enable their digital arm. And after that, I spent 3.5 years at Ogilvy One, again building up the digital capabilities of a world-class advertising agency. I then moved on. I spent a year working in a very cool design studio called North 55, which is owned by 2 very dear friends of mine, and that was a great experience because I really got to be very close to the work again. I think quite often in this industry, the more senior we get, the further away we get from the thing that we loved about it, be it the creativity, the selling, or the people, and you spend more and more time looking at Excel sheets. And that's why we look back on my time at North 55 quite fondly, because I was so close to the work and to the actual creative output again.
On Yousef's path to success, innovation was all about bringing traditional, established concepts together in creative and powerful ways.
Once Flip had started up, I became quite good friends with Martin and Dinesh, the co-founders, and we'd meet for lunch, we'd meet for a drink, and we got to know each other quite well. And I realized very quickly that these guys had very much the same vision as I did for the web. And part of the reason why they started Flip was that they felt that the brands weren't being served adequately in the digital space in the region. And what you had at the time, and to some extent what you still have today 8 years later, is you have advertising agencies who understand design and creativity, or you have IT companies that understand technology, but very few companies that understand both. And we've always liked to say that we're equally left-brained and right-brained, and that even by example, we have 40 designers and animators, and we have 40 programmers and developers. So we're really able to work with brands to understand both what technology can do for them in the digital space, but quite importantly, how human beings can interact with those platforms as well.